This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Welcome everybody to the May 2025 Commission on Disability meeting. First we have to do roll call. So we're looking Rice, Jeff Brown, Dylan. Anybody else? No, that's it. I don't think so.
Louise was right there. I don't know where she went.
So she joined on the computer and in person.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the computer is showing that wall.
Right.
I was wondering what wall. Okay. All right. There's no one here for public speak, right?
It doesn't look like it.
All right, so we're gonna dive into it. Our speaker, you wanna
Sure,
introduce yourself?
sure. My name's Tom Garrick. I'm the Veterans Agent for Easthampton, and I've been on since November 23. But I've been working in veteran services for the last 10 years, well, since 2014. So I have a good handle on VA benefits, all the state and local resources that are available. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about VA compensation. Basically, VA compensation is given out for service-connected disabilities, and then for other reasons that I'll get into going down the line. First off, for service-connected disabilities, there's different types. There's direct service connections, which, basically, you hurt yourself, head injury or anything like that while you were serving, then, that's a direct connection. Whereas if you can have a disability or condition that is aggravated by your service as well, that's also considered service connected. Then there are the presumptive service connected disabilities, which is one good example is the Vietnam veterans who were exposed to Agent Orange. They have a bunch of different presumptive conditions such as Parkinson's disease, a lot of different types of cancer are associated with the Agent Orange. And that was a big part of that was established with the PACT Act 2022. So that expanded those presumptive conditions for that group of veterans, the Vietnam veterans, and it even expanded the Blue Water veterans who basically they expanded the limit of, it's beyond 12 nautical miles now, I think. If your ship was on the list during that time, then you come down with the presumptive conditions, then you're eligible to put in for compensation. There's also secondary service connection. So that's something like, well, it's a disability that's occurs because of your service connected disability. So in other words, so if you hurt your left knee in the service, that's a direct service connection, but you overcompensate for so long, and then now you have right knee problems. Well, that would be secondary to your original service connection. Beyond that, another form of compensation is dependency indemnity compensation, which is for survivors of 100% service-connected veterans, or those who are considered to have a service-connected death. I have in the past posthumously got the service-connected death established in order to get benefits for the surviving dependents. And that's for surviving spouses, for children up to basically 23 years old, or, and I hate this term, the VA uses the term helpless child.
Sorry.
The VA uses the term helpless child, and that what that is what that term applies to is adults who were disabled before the age of 18. So they're entitled to that benefit as well. And then also parents of the veteran eligible for that sort of thing based off of, for that benefit based off of need. So that would, their eligibility for that benefit would be income based. Then the last one I'm going to talk about as far as compensation goes is tort claims. Tort claims is basically claims because of negligence by the VA. So that's not service-connected compensation, that's VA compensation for, you know, if they, for instance, if you go in for surgery and they operate on the wrong leg or arm or something like that, that's a negligence in it. And there's different elements that you have to prove in order to get that compensation. You have to, basically goes if the, you know, if the VA if the VA owes you a duty as a patient, that's one of the criteria. That duty was breached. Causation, the negligence directly caused harm, and damages that you suffer. If you have evidence to back up that, then you can get compensation to the VA for that.
Some questions.
Yeah.
What about more recently, what about the polio,
The Veterans Home?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's your question?
were people who were in that home when they died of COVID, for example, would they have qualified?
Well, that's a state veterans home. So this is what I'm talking about is federal. So if you go to the VA Health Administration and you're getting treatment there, that's when you would get VA compensation. Whereas the state veterans home is a separate entity and it's at the state level.
So that depends on how much funds the state has for veterans. Yeah, I mean, here and now.
So actually it's funded by the veterans homes are funded by the Executive Office of Veterans Services at the state level. So that's built into their budget. Obviously, after the COVID incident happened, they've now expanded they put on that nice, big, beautiful extension of I have a hard time because I always know it as the soldiers home, but it's the veterans home in Hoyoke. So
Okay,
I gotta
but
get used to
still, okay, so realistically, that depends on how much people in Western Massachusetts, their clout in Boston.
So, I'm sorry. So can you repeat that again?
Well, can you hold on until he does the presentation and then we'll do questions at the end?
Okay,
I can go more over the veterans home.
I'm curious.
So the other thing I did want to go over to the veterans who are service connected, 100% service connected. The registration fees are now waived. The driver's license fees. For veterans, for disabled veterans plates, you still have to meet the criteria that has on there. You have to be at least 60% service connected and then have trouble ambulating or basically, I think there's a distance that you're supposed to get for a doctor to sign off on that you can't go X amount of feet without having to rest. And then you would get that eligible for that based on the medical need. And then you just have to meet the 60% service connected criteria. And then you also, sales tax. So sales tax for one passenger vehicle would be 100% service connected veterans would be exempt from that. They also, the annuity, state annuity that the state gives to 100% service connected veterans, and they give that annuity also to surviving spouses of 100% service-connected veterans or those who've passed of a service-connected death. And then basically,
Can I
once,
just interrupt you?
sure.
When you're saying 100% service-connected veterans, I'm not clear what that means.
Okay, so when the VA rates a disability, they rate it from 0 to 100%.
Okay,
100% is the most you can get. So you can have a bunch of different ratings for different disabilities that add up to 100%, or you can just have one significant disability that gets you to 100%.
okay. So it's in terms of
Yeah.
disability, 100%.
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
I get it. Thank you.
You know, someone might have a hearing problem, hearing loss at the level of 10%. You know, so there's different levels of compensation as you go up to, and it goes in multiples of different. And one thing I want to bring to people's attention, given this day and age with prices going up and you know, utilities, rent, everyth's going up, and it's getting tough for everybody. So if you're on if you're on needs-based benefits, you can get discounted rates from your electric or gas company, particularly in the areas Eversource. So that includes, there's also some benefits it applies to that's not necessarily needs-based. Like if there's anybody who receives the veterans annuity, well, the veterans annuity that I just talked that was increased from $2,000 to $2,500, the annual annuity payment. That a payment is issued, and it's covered under Mass General Law Chapter 115 benefits, and that's one of the criteria to get this discounted rate. So they give rates. I think that the electrical rate's about 42% less than the standard, and then the gas is 25%. So it's a significant savings, and you pretty much just have to show that you get these benefits, and then all of a sudden your bill drops. So that's
Have you been in touch with anybody at the Easthampton Senior Center?
Oh yeah, that's where my office is. Yeah, I work with the COA regularly.
Who do you work with there?
I work with Cindy and I work with Ashley mostly.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Right. That's my other job.
Oh.
I'm actually on the board of the COA.
Oh, great. Yeah. Yeah. Information, and we have shared clients, and believe it or not, the veteran population in Easthampton is 85% of the population is over 55.
Yeah.
So that's the primary group that I'm dealing with. They qualify for the COA, so it makes sense for my office to be there. And that's out of around 1,500 veterans that we have in the city here. And it's actually pretty significant for the city because it's almost 10% of the population.
Stan, you have a question?
Yes, I just got a message on my phone about a half hour ago saying major change regarding veterans benefits have been announced by the VA today. Just wanted to pass that on.
I didn't see the message, so I'll have to look for that for sure.
But that's why I'm mentioning it. You could look when you get a chance.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that. I'll open up for yeah, good point. Mass General Law Chapter 115 is veterans needs-based benefits. So it's financial assistance for veterans and then it's families of the veterans, the dependents. So I have surviving spouses and veterans who I am able to help financially according to state law. So what happens is issue financial assistance to these people who qualify for it. And that's, in order to qualify, you have to be a veteran or related to a dependent of a veteran, according to state law.
So it would
And-
include parents of veterans.
It does not. Chapter 115 does not. So the needs based is based off of 200% of the federal poverty level. So, and then there's, if in some cases, there's people who are just over that amount, but they have medical expenses that spend down. So they would qualify for something at that point. And it helps in Chapter 115 benefits, besides the financial assistance, it also reimburses medical expenses, including Medigap plans and, prescriptions, co-pays, all that stuff. So really been helpful to a lot of veterans and families across the state. And so what happens is I pay it out of a municipal account, and then at the end of the year, the state reimburses the city at 75% for most of it. Some of it, if it has to deal with homelessness or a couple of other cases, it would be 100% reimbursed to the city.
Can you explain how people would apply for service connected and Chapter 115?
So any of those benefits that people are interested in applying for, they should definitely just come to me, come to Veteran Services Department, and we can help assess what is the best route for the veteran or dependent to take. I mean, it's really, in a lot of cases, I always try to leave it up to them as far as what they want to do and how to approach things. But when I have someone on Chapter 115 benefits, one of my responsibilities is to seek alternative sources of income. So the Chapter 115 benefits is it's a safety net, essentially. And it works for, if a veteran's unemployment ran out, I can get them on and then get them on an employment plan with our veterans employment rep at the state level.
Do you supply their discharge paperwork, or they need to bring it?
They can come, I can get their discharge paperwork or request it. I do have access to a state database that would allow me to access the discharge documents as long as they entered the service in Massachusetts. Now, if they don't have their discharge documents and we need to request them, I got to request them from the National Records Archive in St. Louis.
And your name is?
My name's Tom Garrick,
Tom.
G-E-R-Y-K.
I asked. G-E-R-Y.
And I have cards for
Oh,
everybody.
thank you very much. So I am not well versed in this area at
Sure.
all, and I would like to post about this on the commission's Facebook page. So can I just run this by you and you can tell me if I got this right?
Sure.
You're here talking about VA compensation for service-connected disabilities and the kinds of federal compensation veterans are entitled to, including related discounts and benefits.
Well,
I don't want to say something
that's
that's
it.
not right.
what I would do too is what you could do is post a link to my website
Okay.
right
and
on
that's
there as
here?
well. So I would leave it general as general benefits and services for veterans. This is where you can find it. You can list the disability benefits that I discussed. So, I would keep it general and I always encourage vets to reach out to me.
So when you say website, do you mean your email address?
No, I mean the city website. I have a lot of information up on the
easthamptonma.gov?
easthamptonma.gov. That's my.
That's part of your, there's not a website on
It's
here.
not. It's not here. It's on the actual. It's on the web. It's on the city website. So if you go to easthamptonma.gov
Yeah.
on the web, it would. Yeah.
Okay, and then link to the.
And then if you go under
veteran services.
departments, and then I would be the veterans is the last department. So
Right, so their office used to be in this building, like down there, and now they moved.
Okay, Great. That's very helpful. Thank you.
You know, the other thing I do too is I try to, we want to encourage veterans and families getting out into the community. We have the Easthampton Coalition for Veterans Wellness is a group here, an organization that is now officially a nonprofit that whose mission is to basically fight veterans isolation. We want to get, you know, veterans out and involved in, you know, so what we do is we have a veterans luncheon once a month that vets come out at, the luncheon's at 12. It typically runs 12 to 1, and it's at the Easthampton Congregational Church. That's the first Wednesday of every month. And every other Wednesday, so the second, third, and fourth Wednesday of the month, we have coffee hours in the same spot, 9 to 11. So every Wednesday, there's something going on at the Easthampton Congregation. The other thing we have coming up is this is more of a statewide thing, is we have the Women's Veterans Network Conference, which will be Saturday, May 17th. That's in Southbridge. I have more information on that if anybody's interested. And then, so yeah. Any other questions?
On this clarify the luncheon is the first Monday?
First Wednesday.
First Wednesday, yeah.
Any of your handouts have these schedules and information?
Actually, I have, I can actually shoot a email to the group afterwards with everything that's in it. And we also had the Coalition for Veterans Wellness has a Summer Vet Fest coming up in July. So this is, you can actually get on a email distribution list with them by coming to the luncheon, and you'll find out all about all these events as they come up and get near closer. So it's a good way to kind of stay in the know. Yep. So it'll be at Nonotuck Park, 10 to 2, and it's you can register. We encourage people to register online. There's a QR code on the ads, and these are hung up. At this point, they're all around town now, so they're starting to. There should be one here at the COA establishments in town. That's all I really had to bring for today. Anything else? So, would you be able to send me do you have a contact list for emails I can use for sending out more information here? Following.
For these guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want me to I can just email you. I have your email and you can pass it along?
Sure.
All right. That'll work too. Pretty
Yeah,
good.
that would be great.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Um,
Yeah. Oh,
me, I didn't hand out to you. I'd like to-
oh, yeah. Sure. This is just the Hero Act information that I have. Here.
What we're meeting today is going to be around.
I have a few things, I have a few things lined up, but I appreciate that. I have you on my regular Google Calendar reminder, so sometimes before the meeting happens, pop in and remind me. Sometimes I'm in the middle of stuff. Yeah.
The official business.
Yeah, right. Networking.
Yeah, yeah.
So these Eversource discount rate applications you can get rid of. I can leave it for you, like collecting stuff here. That's good. That's good. I'm gonna bet test. You can keep that. These are the coffee hours, and we don't have our new flyer for the luncheon yet. So you need me to stick around for
Yeah.
anything else? Well,
You're
I'm happy to come anytime, and if you have other topics you want me to cover, I'm happy to do that. There's a lot more to, it's hard to fit everything in. I'm glad you prompted me to bring up chapter 115, because that's one of the main things that I really got to cover. So yeah, if there's any more questions, feel free to reach out anytime. I'm happy to come here and talk about VA pensions is a whole nother subject, other VA benefits, and, aid and attendance for veterans and survivors and spouses who need help with their activities of daily living. So that's a whole nother conversation to have at some point. So, all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Your card, I think.
Oh,
Jeff Brown is here.
I see.
no problem. Yeah, take care.
Do you have your computer on for a reason? Are you recording it or? You want it to stay on?
Sorry.
You want your computer to stay on? Because you're signed in here. But you're sitting here, so I'm just trying to figure. Oh, okay, okay.
I can't hear.
What?
Hi, guys. I just wanted to say
Yeah,
hi.
I know. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, just remind everybody, I try to remind you, you have to speak up, especially we're recording it. And hi, Jeff.
Hi.
How are you?
All right.
Okay. Are you a veteran? I'm a veteran. So maybe,
You didn't have to walk anywhere.
sure did, because I was naval intelligence, so we don't spend much time on a ship. So I get a little spoiled because we don't have to be on a ship. That's why I picked the job.
Well, we were trained except for a couple of guys that were escaping jail.
Yeah.
And, we had the drill instructors wrapped around the leader. There was a lecture on this kind of people and stumbled and they couldn't do it. So we rode everywhere.
Nice. Slick.
We were spoiled.
Slick. Okay. Stan, do you have anything you want to share? Current events? or-
Nothing that wouldn't be knowable to everybody already, and that's all of the grant reductions that are coming out of the White House, where they're blocking funding in so many areas. One major group that is being hit hard by that are students with disabilities, because the schools are not getting the extra funding anymore.
So Stan, I would not assume when you say it's anybody can access it, I purposely do not watch the news because it's too stressful for me.
Okay.
It's really traumatic for me to have the news on, so I do not put the news on. So what you think is common knowledge, Angelique has no idea is going on. Just being honest.
Look, there's things, I would then stand too, because it's trying to assemble my own thoughts.
Okay.
But, I think a lot of things have changed with the new federal administration. And they're going to impact, for example, seniors, cost connection, Medicare and Social Security are both going to disappear.
And Medicaid as well.
And then, yes,
Oh dear.
so
Disappeared.
Yeah, I would say also, I heard yesterday that the Department of Developmental Services is anticipating a decline in applications for people with autism because of
Yeah.
the proposed autism list that RFK Jr. wants to implement, and that people are afraid to be put on that list. And so DDS is thinking that fewer people,
Liz, are we
Yeah.
talking like, what happened with the,
like a nationwide list. Well, that's not what he says is why, but yes, he is talking about a nationwide list of people with autism. And he's been talking about it as something that an illness that can't be cured is RFK Jr.'s approach to autism.
So in other words, people with autism can sooner or later be put in a concentration camp.
Well,
And
I mean,
that's,
Or.
that's realistic.
that's not,
Or
well,
sent to Guantanamo. or
that's
whatever.
not what he's saying is gonna happen. But it's concerning, I think, to a lot of people in the autism community, and DDS is anticipating a drop in applications because of that, which I think is relevant to us.
One way or another,
Oh.
because they're different, he's going to separate them and basically punish them for whatever.
Basically, Trump is,
Oh my,
sorry,
Oh.
following Hitler's
Yeah.
Playbook.
page. Yeah.
from the 30s, 1930s, which I happen to know a lot about because unfortunately, fortunately, me. And I've got friends I got one friend in London who's Polish. And she said, and when I said that, people here are going, what are you talking about? And she was like, he's following the chapter by chapter.
And he said that, so that's.
Yeah,
not- that-
ew.
I think it's very concerning, but as with RFK Jr.'s statements, by saying that autism is an illness and it can't be cured, he's also paving the way to defund government funding for autism programs, because if it's an illness that's uncurable, then there's no reason to fund.
Right.
So that's kind of the path that he's putting it on, it seems. I mean,
Why do you select that illness? There's so many
Yeah.
illnesses.
he is a real anti-vaccine. I mean, he says he's not, but he's been on the record many times saying that vaccines cause autism and he's anti-vaccine. I mean, I have very strong personal feelings about what's going on, but I'm trying to be,
You're doing so good.
it's
You're doing so good.
very concerning, and I think it really affects the disability population.
It does. Oh my God. Like my heart's racing. That sounds scary.
It's yes, it's
How useful it is. Just look at the rate of measles in, I think, Texas, Florida, and that's going to spread throughout. It's a very contagious disease.
It's, well, I wouldn't put any faith in anything that's being said about that at all, because it's totally skewed. It's totally skewed and it's totally political. What you see in the newspaper and in the news is not honest reporting.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm getting most of my
I
report.
know. That's,
I'm getting most of mine from BBC One.
Yeah.
And in other words, foreign.
yeah, that's still garbage in, garbage out, you know?
Right.
So the thing, this is something that I've been studying for decades, so I get hot under the collar about it too, so. So it's a crap. I'm surprised the Suburbans aren't in the way every night when I go to bed, so. It's, I'm censored, all kinds of stuff. So it's just.
Jeff, you have a question? Comment?
Sure. Yeah, well, I was gonna say that it just the whole narrative going on, once you start talking about vaccines cause autism, diet causes autism, and oh my God, the echo is driving me nuts.
yeah, that's
What
saying.
once you start talking about that, It individualizes the problem. It makes it so it's not a social issue. It's just bad choices. So we shouldn't do anything to help these people because they did their own thing and they screwed up, you know. They ate poorly, they didn't exercise enough, they're they those kids don't deserve help because the parents let them watch too much TV, which caused the autism, you know. But it's just this whole, I mean, you see I mean, you see similar narratives playing out with poverty and any other condition, you know, any other affliction that the government might help, uh you have essentially conservative legislators trying to individualize problems that society, that are not people's fault or that society creates, I don't
I'm
know.
in total agreement with what Jeff just said.
Yeah.
So I couldn't hear that, but it's classic blame the victim.
Yep.
To save the government money.
Well, what they eat is the government's fault. Food's expensive. So
Yes.
low income people eat crappy because that's what's available.
Yes, RFK Jr., who has no medical training and no health services experience, is making a lot of broad pronouncements about things.
That's always fun.
He's also being squashed by other systems. So it's
Can you guys, can you hear him?
Yes.
so it's going to be a dumpster fire for a while.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I think, as we've said several times here, that
Yep.
and that we can have a handle on, but out of control. So, and I'm not going to argue all the points that somebody wants to talk about.
Do we have anything else to share before we move on? Ooh, that's so stressful. Okay. So we're still collaborating with the Northampton Commission on Disability for Pride Awareness Month. It'll happen January 5th at the Marigold, and I think we're gonna.
January or
Oh.
July? You mean July? Okay.
I'm hot over here. I wish. No, I don't want snow, please. No.
Wait. I'm confused too.
I haven't finished explaining. That's why you're confused.
I'm trying to work out the date.
July.
Right, July 5th.
July. not
Yes,
June.
I was gonna
Okay.
recap since I said January.
Oh.
Yeah, so July 5th at the Marigold. I don't know what time we're doing anything because we're still working with Northampton. And we're gonna show the movie that Jeff suggested, Patrice, right? That's it. That's the name of it, right?
I believe so.
And so they'll be making flyers and we'll have, I'm not sure what time any of this is happening, but it's gonna creep up. That's only, less than 2 months away, so. Does anybody want to give an update on the field trip that they had at Riverside?
Do you want to, Eli? I'm happy to. It was just the two of us.
Yeah, why don't you do it? Thank you.
So we met with Marcus, and it was Eli and me, and he showed us around basically an overview of the services that Riverside provides to their individuals. And it was very impressive. I had no idea that their space was so extensive. Yeah, it's enormous. They provide, I should have taken some notes, but they provide daily services. They have rehab services there. They have kind of life skills training. We visited a cooking class that was in progress. They offered us cupcakes, which we did not take. we saw the distribution, like a commercial distribution area where they do packaging and for companies that hire them. And I thought it was really great. We got to see people like receiving services and the people who were doing the caregiving and service giving, working. And they said that they welcome us to come back at any time. Does
Is the
anybody?
kitchen still working?
The cafeteria, you mean?
Yeah.
No.
It's not open to the public. But they said that they do some internal things in that kitchen. But they, it closed during COVID and then they couldn't figure out a way to make it profitable. It was losing money. So it's something that they're still thinking about.
Jeff, do you want to share what you shared with me, or is that private?
I'll share just briefly. So, after many years working at Riverside, I'm not working there anymore. Just, various things. It was a personal decision, and had a great experience, a long run there. I worked there for 20 years. It was awesome, and and now I'm not working there. So, just so you know,
Having a 20 years, that's a long time.
yeah. Give or take with some temp time, and I did take a year where I wasn't working during COVID. I wasn't working there for a year, but I mean, it's I've worked, So I've moved on. I'm gonna transition into something remote, sizing up my options right now. But so just so everybody knows, yeah. All right.
Thank you for
And
sharing.
you all described it very well. You all described the services in the tour very well. All right. Bye.
You had your question.
I'm sorry I missed the field trip. And I'm hoping we'll have another one.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, let me know. I'm
Their communications director is Marcus.
Marcus.
Yeah,
I don't remember his last name.
You can send you his email. Okay, so on to the next.
Oh, and just so I did post some pictures about that.
I saw.
Yep. So I am continuing to try to give us a more vibrant Facebook presence.
Yeah, why don't you take time to talk about that for a minute?
Well,
You're doing so good.
thank you. This is kind of like what my job is. I'm the communications manager now at ServiceNet. So I'm trying to apply those skills to the board to give us a larger community presence.
So if you look online, you see the little fancy sign she made us about our meeting. So fancy, so official. Oh
So
my
I'm
goodness.
trying to share in a public facing way through Facebook. So I have been posting more. I posted 5 times last month since between these 2 meetings. And I'm trying to post, at least once a week, relevant information about Easthampton and hoping that people will start to follow us and maybe come to meetings.
Yeah.
That's
So what's the address so people can know?
It's a Facebook. It's just the Easthampton Commission on
Yeah,
Disability.
so
it's Commission on Disability, Easthampton MA 01027.
Facebook.
Facebook. That if you search that on Facebook, you'll find us. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. So
This-
helpful.
There are limited things I can do, but this is one of them.
This is what. And our speaker, when I spoke, he's very technical, so I don't know I understood everything he was saying because I already know about it. So I was a little worried because he's very, right, when somebody that's your profession, like you use the words. And so a lot of it wasn't explained. Did you understand most of it? Okay, but is that because you're familiar with it already?
I'm in the business too, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but did you understand most of it? Or was it overwhelming? The speaker, because he was
Oh,
very
I thought he was
technical.
great.
Okay, because there's a lot of
But
terms
it's-
that were military terms, so I was a little nervous.
I was a little confused.
Yeah. So,
I think he came into it like assuming a certain amount of knowledge of veterans benefits, and I don't have that knowledge.
Yeah, I'm
So
not
it was
sure
a little
why-
confusing, but
why that happened, because I'm gonna, yeah, because me knowing all that information, I could recognize, I was like, well, I know what that is, but why would anybody in this room know, or anybody at home know what that is?
yeah, I think it's just,
So it's
you know, when
hard.
someone's an expert in a subject, it can be hard to
Yes.
get back to
Yeah.
basic
So,
knowledge.
The other thing is if you don't use the right language, you can't find it on your own because the way the government speaks. So,
oh, you mean, because the technical terms, you gotta have them to look stuff.
yeah, because you could ask Dr. Google anything, but you get somebody else, so.
Right,
So it is a sticky wicket both ways.
Yeah. sure is.
So you have to do double, triple the time to explain the technical verbiage.
Yeah.
So it was a good intro, and now we have to back it up with in less than baffle speak.
Yeah. So I didn't know when I got out of the military. I did not know about any transition services or helpful services. And like, I was homeless more than once with my kiddos because of creepy landlords and like the veterans people. They saved me
But
totally from being
you
on the
just
street.
touched the proverbial tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
But the point is, and he iterated several times, is contact him because there's more there that
Yeah.
fits the individual situation. So
Yeah. He had 20 minutes. He had 10 minutes, but he did 20 and that still didn't.
Yeah, I thought it was helpful. I mean, even though I didn't totally I wouldn't be comfortable giving that advice to someone else.
Right.
I feel like I know where to look now
Good.
and who to contact. So that
Okay.
is enough for me.
Yeah. Cause he's brand new. So
I can tell you a little war story. I drove my motorcycle into a 4-foot deep ditch on an army base
oops,
in the middle of the night with
oopsies.
no signs or markings on the road or anything like that. And so I'm still injured. And my medical records are in St. Louis, and they were burned in the fire that they had several years ago.
So are mine.
So I'm like, you know what, out of
Yeah.
luck,
Out of luck.
and so I'm going to go see Mr. Tom and see if we can
Do
do
it.
something. Yeah.
That's awesome.
So. and
Yeah.
so-
I have missing records as well
Yeah. So
for health reasons.
I could draw the map in the basin where that road was. They drove an ambulance into it too, and they never did anything about it.
Oh, that's awful.
Yeah. So that's the government for
That is. Okay, so the accessibility ordinance. So we no longer have city councilor Zaret or city councilor Gomez. So city councilor Brad Riley is gonna take over helping us. And he's very motivated. He said, start to finish. We're gonna get this done.
Great.
So,
Would he maybe like to come in and join us at a
he said he
meeting?
was going to. He offered. I didn't even ask. He's very, very motivated. Such a nice person.
Did he? Is Connie Denham involved in that thing?
I mean, I had written to her when you told me to, and she wrote back, but I don't know if he's including her or not. So he was trying to get all the emails and files or whatever, because when Eli and I met with City Councilor Zaret, he said that he was talking to Boston, the Massachusetts Office of Disability, for the correct language and stuff. But Brad contacted the IT department to get emails and, you know, the long history, and they can't find the history. So we really are starting over, which is, you know, frustrating because this has been years of starting over. Every time we get a new city councilor that's interested, like, they're busy, so big chunks of time go by. We only meet once a month. And then every time we meet with them, it's like starting from scratch. So I feel like we've started over, I don't even know, 10 times. Like, that's what it feels like. So, but he could sense my, my exhaustion. Yeah. So he's committed to making sure this gets done. And again, that's the ordinances that would say something about city businesses having to list anything to do with a disability and a contact person, like an accommodation and a contact person.
For events or just.
I want it
anything.
period, but definitely for events, right? So they should just have it period. And my goal, I can't say in how long, like maybe by next year. Maybe, I mean, I would really like it to just start to be normal, like not that we have to ask for it. Like, I just want it to be part of it. Oh, like, you got a new employee and part of the training is, so here, if anybody calls and asks for accommodations, here's.
You also talk to Peg Conniff as well.
I'm
She's only come back to city council for a few months.
so it has to go through the ordinance committee. So whoever's are both of those people on the ordinance committee? They are?
Sorry?
Are they on the ordinance committee?
Yeah, Peg would have the history for years going back, so could.
No, I mean, he asked the IT department to go through the old emails of Owen and Omar. So if the
It's one way.
IT department doesn't have it, then that means it's gone. Like, Peg's not gonna have more access in the IT department.
She's going to have the history, the mental history that she might have.
Oh,
otherwise.
I don't know that she even knows it was going on. I can ask her, but I don't think she
She
knows
was like-
anything.
I'm just suggesting she might be.
I don't think they told her about it. Like, I don't think she was involved, so I don't know.
But she would probably be best placed to figure out which counselors as human beings.
That's not how it goes. You have to be on the ordinance committee. So even if there's a different counselor she likes, then it doesn't matter because I don't get to choose. And on the ordinance committee, there's a head of that. So we don't get to choose anything. It's whoever's there. That's how Owen, he was, Salem Derby was the chair. And then, so, I mean, I can ask her, but I'm not going to go over Brad's head. So anything I ask, I would tell Brad and then have him do.
If he doesn't and remains committed to the ordinance committee,
Right.
which I'm a little dubious about.
Okay.
So
Understandable.
I'm just trying to think of.
Right. Got it. Okay. So we did the current events. We obviously still have room for new members. You had a person, I think, did you have a person? You had a person that maybe wanted to join. Did they decide not to?
I have to follow up.
Okay.
I think it's somebody that you actually know.
Okay.
Talk to me after.
Okay. So does anybody have future speaker requests that they're hoping to hear from? I have somebody for next month. No? Okay. Well, you know where I am.
I might have one in the future.
Okay, perfect. Yes. So World Disability Day is December 3rd. I feel like the year is flying by. Is it flying by? Or
Yes,
is it
I
flying?
agree with you.
like, what happened? And so I just feel like that's gonna sneak up on us, and I don't even know. I want to do something. I mean, maybe we just end up making a post, and that's more than we did in the past. So,
So
How about using that kind to book the miracle?
that's a different event.
that's for Disability Pride. Yeah.
I know. I was thinking of in advance booking that for December 3rd and then figuring out, oh,
I don't think I would be comfortable doing that because if we don't come up with something, that man's gonna lose money because he gave us the space and we don't have, because he's got to pay somebody to open it and be there. And so unless we have some solid plans that I can tell him, I can't just,
I mean,
because he'd probably say yes, he's such a nice guy.
I feel like maybe we should approach this from what would we hope to gain from that day? Like, is it awareness?
Awareness, yeah.
Just awareness. So
I wanted to have a bunch of different tables and then Jeff Brown had brought, there's this like disabled dancers. So a little thing, but like, it seems like a big thing to take on.
for you alone, for sure.
Yeah.
So I think if you, use us, your board.
Right.
Hmm.
Yes. What happens usually though is a lot of us have disabilities, so then they can't do anything outside of this meeting, is what I have learned.
Yes.
Which is why, new members are great because sometimes they have extra energy right in the beginning.
Right. But I think even, in my experience working with people with disabilities, if you have the right expectations, people with disabilities can still do things.
Make a contribution.
So it's,
In the past, it's always been no from everybody.
yeah.
So there's a long history.
That's
Like,
too bad.
I can't.
Right?
Am I shy?
Well,
Are they shy? No, they just say they're overwhelmed with their life.
Yeah,
So,
But sometimes I think if you break it down to like, is there, what do you feel comfortable? Help, but it just seems like too much.
much, yeah.
and skill sets too, so.
Yeah.
So in the past, it was just showing up for a meeting online for a subcommittee meeting, and that was really, people struggled to get there.
So
And that's where we lost a lot of people. Quite a few is their spouses had medical issues, to be honest.
I'm
so
just,
Yeah,
how can we make this work? That's what I'm trying
Right.
to kind of brainstorm.
exactly. Thank you. Be very specific about delegating.
The
You know,
cham- the
yeah.
cham- The chamber used to have a big expo every year and they dropped it, but, they have, put on large functions. So I'm wondering if people at the chamber could be involved in something like this too.
sorry?
Could you talk a little louder?
I say, I'm wondering if the chamber, because they've sort of put their function to bed, would be interested in helping us, spread the word, so to speak.
Right.
In some kind of thing. And
Yeah,
they're-
maybe that's
So if we book
the solution.
Not booking it because we don't have money. So it's him donating it.
Appreciate it. So far, I can think we could ask the best guy who is here today to speak or on cable. We could ask somebody from Riverside. I think from Riverside, Services.
Right.
Whether
I'm
they're
not
pos-
worried about not filling up tables. I'm worried about who's gonna be there to run it and how long, and I can't like handle everything.
But
Okay, sorry, it's just,
so
Yep.
But if I may, I mean, right now, I think what Angelique is saying, and so I mean, in terms of who has been on the committee for over 6 months, you are looking at us. So we have seen over the past 3 years, 4 years, we have seen people come and go and stuff. So, I mean, the idea of why can't people, it is really hard to think from now to it is really hard to think from now to December because the person who joins next month with the best intentions might not be here 2 months from now. So you're looking at someone that is going to think of the event and then, be willing to go through steps of follow through from now and still be here in December to like organize the people with the tables and stuff like that. So we can think of all the ideas we want now, but unless there are people that are actually willing to see it through, and it's not going to happen right now. I don't know what my employment will be like and my commitment, and I'm also committed as a parent for a lot of evening stuff. I mean, Louise and Stan, you guys know your ability and your bandwidth, and that's fine. And if you want to say that you will be doing it, that's great. But I know you guys are involved in a lot. And I feel like just saying, well, someone can, that's not a fruitful conversation right now. Because right now, I think what's going to happen is Angelique is going to probably be the only consistent person between now and December. We can hope for someone with energy and bandwidth that'll join sometime in the future, but I don't know that that's happening. I don't know.
So I'll let you speak, Jennifer, please.
It's going to simply volunteer, to chair a committee. I don't know what I'd be doing. What do you call it? Sorry,
Subcommittee.
right. For December 3rd, World Disability Day, at the Marigold. And I'll need information.
I mean, I don't know that he would say yes, so.
Right, so I need to just, I need contacts from you. I mean, like, information. Who do I approach at the Marigold?
Right, yeah.
Yeah, and that sort of thing. I could start it off. I don't know that I could actually be here on December 3rd. But
It's my daughter's birthday, by the way.
Yeah. So we have to end the meeting in a few minutes, so,
Yeah, okay.
So I just want to say, like, I'm a very concrete thinker. So
You sure are.
I am. So what I'm thinking is that, if the people with the experience with this board feel that running an event is just not really possible with the assets that we have right now, and with the things that Jeff brought up, then let's think about what we can do, right? Like, so maybe an event is too much for us this year. So what else would we have to do that could get the word out that would be achievable? That's kind of where I'm coming at this from. Like, it very well may be that we need to wait until we have a full board and we need a whole year to plan it. And maybe it's not this year, but what could we do this year then that would be something that we can do?
Right, so probably an online presence. I mean, because I had the PTSD panel, and that's been going on for 6 years, 7 years. They say they're gonna do it, and by the way, this was a shock to me. I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but my next door neighbor passed away. She was one of the
Oh no, Alita.
5 months ago. Nobody even told me. My house.
Oh shit.
Oh, wow.
There just was a bunch of
wow.
cars there and a bunch of young people. I thought she was raising her grandson who was like 24. So I thought he was like having parties. My kids thought it was like drug deals. There's always cars, and it's like, no. I called the town, and I like feel awful. Because she was one of the original members of the Commission on Disability. So, oh my goodness.
So maybe we could set aside some time on next month's agenda to just talk about what we might want to do that's achievable
Yep.
in December.
So, but there's also cultural chaos. In the past, we were allowed to have a table. That's June 8th. I'm going to be teaching dance that day, but it's hard to get people to table, whether it's COVID or it's hot out or, right? You run a whole tent yourself. Are you still doing that?
Not anymore.
Why? Well, I know why.
Yeah,
Ugh. But your spiel was great.
thank you.
Cultural chaos.
Cultural chaos, right? I don't know if they have any tables available, but that's a very hot event. You usually share the tent with somebody else because they only have limited table space and you're sitting there all day. And so in the past, we didn't have anybody really to cover that besides Eli.
I could, have some contacts, might be able to be helpful with that. I mean, Show Circus Studios is almost always there. Cultural chaos.
Hey, what are you saying you get contacts for? I know the person running it, Pascalina. Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, Pascalina,
Yeah.
I know her too.
Hey, I have another commitment, so I have to
Yeah.
go.
We
All
gotta
right.
go out anyway, so bye, Jeff.
Bye.
Jeff.
We never have to get run over. We always have meetings that end early.
I'm willing to work on December 3rd.
Right. I don't know if we're gonna do an event. But if you can't be there, I don't know that you can share what's going on. Because
But
that's what he was saying. If people can't commit,
I know what I can do and what I can't.
Yeah.
do. And and the first thing to do would be
Since
to
we're like an official government.
expand the committee.
Hard to ask Angela.
So
right.
I'm volunteering to give it a shot. I can certainly, I know Pascalina, and I can certainly take on the legwork of starting to,
I've already
the contact
emailed her to ask if there's table available. So her answer is either yes or no. And if it's
Okay, great.
yes, then we just need people to be able to sit there. If it's hot.
And I could do it for some, I couldn't
Right,
be there
a
the
chunk
whole
of time.
time, a chunk of time, yeah. I have
Right.
to take care of my son.
Last year, wasn't there, we were in the tent, but then because it's so crowded, wasn't there like another person in front of us blocking us? There was someone next to us, we were here, and then there was like a cart in front of us.
I wasn't here last year. So
Year before,
the year
whenever you
before-
were there,
Okay.
they were
then-
right there in front of you,
Yeah, there
blocking,
was
so like
the
nobody.
Planning department. We were we were in the planning department tent.
Okay, so someone there and then something else was in front. So like you would have to like know we're there and go around and so.
yeah, I could start on that because circus performers, and that's my own daughter,
Mhm.
part is, so she turns up at Cultural Chaos, which means that whenever it is, it'll be,
It's June 8th.
okay, then.
Yeah.
I mean, then I'll have to be here June 8th. And putting things together.
So there's not a lot to put together. So we have they supply the table, I believe, right, Eli?
And
And then we just put the thing up front and then you sit there and you ask about
Okay.
chitty chat with new people.
yeah, and I would think that the ultimate goal would be to get more board members.
Right. And just awareness that we're here. Because a
Yeah.
lot of people say, oh, I'll come be a speaker. Like, who are we speaking to?
Yep.
And I always want to say, absolutely nobody.
Oh, we should have that contest.
Because nobody's that comes.
Yeah,
But
they don't
And
supply.
I think circus is pretty good when you get a few stilt walkers at drawing in crowds.
right, but they're not. You think they would come for the stilt walkers and then come to listen to us just because they're
Yep.
near them?
Yep. And I mean, I'll talk to Tara, but is she experienced in channeling people?
Well, it's 12:10, so we gotta go. I don't know if this room is rented out after us. Sometimes there is, or not rented, but you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we didn't go over the minutes.
We didn't
do
do
the
the minutes.
Do we just have
Eli
to?
and I are gonna do both minutes in the next week. How's that? Yes.
Sounds good.
Okay. Yes, what were you saying?
I'm
Oh,
telling you.
oh, I didn't give them yet. So you can't, but you're gonna approve them. Okay, I love that. I love that enthusiasm. Okay. Ah, thank you, Bruce. So next time we'll have 2 minutes. Yeah, Stan.
I just saw on my phone that they have appointed a new pope, if anybody's interested.
Go
Oh,
ahead. Who's the new pope?
They didn't say, but
They
they
didn't say
just
who?
said, smoke,
Stan's
the white
frozen?
smoke is
I
rising.
think you froze.
And I'm out.
Illuminati.
Okay, what
cut
were
him
you
off.
saying, Stan? Say it again. New pope.
New pope, and they said the white smoke was rising to announce that they have picked the pope, but they didn't say who it was.
Oh boy.
It's amazing how fast that happens.
Yeah, that was 2 seconds.
Yeah.
They don't want to be without that.
Donald Trump is in the running too, right?
Right, exactly.
So I just would like to encourage everyone, if there is something that you think we should share on our Facebook page, if you want to email me about it, I'm happy to do that.
Love it.
I'm gonna be over at Council on Aging. The Northampton Council used to run an annual health and wellness fair. So I'm
Oh.
gonna see if Easthampton would do one, and then we would have a place to.
Oh, yes. You have a table at home? I have a table, but
Yeah.
All kinds of tables.
you got all kinds of tables. I guess you own your own home then. You have a basement, garage.
Yeah, I got half a dozen folding tables.
I have tabling experience.
There you go. See, I'm a little more shy, so. All right, so, we're all okay with adjourning?
Yes.
Yes.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.